At 3 years old, Louis Braille's world went dark forever. A tragic accident in his father's leather workshop robbed him of his sight, but it could not rob him of his spirit, his intellect, or his determination to turn personal tragedy into triumph for millions. Born in 1809 in the French village of Couvray, Louis came from a family that valued education and hard work. His father, Simon René Braille, was a skilled leather craftsman who taught his children that excellence comes through dedication and practice. When Louis lost his sight while playing with his father's tools, the family refused to treat him as helpless. This early foundation of high expectations and unconditional support would prove crucial to Louis's future success. At age 10, Louis earned a scholarship to the National Institute for Young Blind People in Paris, the first school of its kind in the world. Here, students learned through lecture and by feeling raised letters pressed into paper. But this system was incredibly slow and cumbersome. Books were enormous, expensive, and difficult to produce. Most blind students could barely read at all, let alone write. Louis refused to accept these limitations. At age 12, he learned about a military communication system called night writing, developed by Captain Charles Barbier. Soldiers could use raised dots to read messages in the dark without giving away their positions with light. Louis immediately saw its potential, but also its flaws. Barbier's system was too complicated for rapid reading. So Louis set out to create something better. Working at night in his dormitory using the same type of awl that had caused his accident, he began developing his own system. There's profound meaning here. The very tool that had taken his sight became the instrument of his greatest achievement. This teaches us that God can transform even our deepest wounds into sources of strength and service. By age 15, Louis had perfected his revolutionary system. Using just 6 dots arranged in different patterns, he created a code that could represent not just letters, but numbers, punctuation, and even musical notation. Unlike previous systems, Braille could be read as quickly as printed text and could be written easily by blind people themselves. But creating this system was only half the battle. Louis faced resistance from the sighted world, including his own school's administration. Many believed that blind people should focus on developing their other senses rather than trying to read and write. Some even feared that too much education would make blind people unwilling to accept traditional roles society had assigned them. Louis persevered because he understood something profound. Independence and dignity are not privileges to be granted. They are rights to be claimed through education and hard work. He spent years teaching his system to other students, knowing that innovation means nothing if it doesn't serve others. Tragically, Louis contracted tuberculosis and died at age 43, before his system gained widespread acceptance. But he had planted seeds that couldn't be destroyed. His former students carried on his work, and gradually, the world recognized the transformative power of his invention. Today, Braille is used worldwide, opening doors to education, employment, and independence for millions of blind and visually impaired people. In a single lifetime, Louis Braille created a system that has lasted over 2 centuries and continues to change lives daily. What lessons does Louis Braille teach us? First, that our greatest limitations can become our greatest strengths when approached with the right attitude. Second, that family support and education are foundations, but personal determination builds the house. Third, that true success isn't measured by personal recognition, but by how many lives we touch and improve. Louis once said that access to communication in the widest sense is access to knowledge. He understood that education and opportunity should not depend on physical ability, economic status, or social position. His life reminds us that every person has inherent dignity and potential that deserves to be developed and celebrated. In our modern world of rapid change and technological advancement, we need Louis Braille's example more than ever. The courage to see possibilities where others see only problems, the persistence to perfect our solutions, and the moral conviction to use our talents not for personal glory, but to lift up others and expand human potential.